and told the truth. He provided simulations. The simulations defense counsel ridicules, Steve Schaefer told you he rejected. He was giving you examples. He told you on the stand before the defense even questioned him that he rejected those simulations. The oral lorazepam. Steve Schaefer said that that would be possible as long as it was outside the 4-hour window. He didn't say that didn't happen. He said it wouldn't happen at 10 o'clock a.m. as the defense was trying to put forth in their hypothetical. He said that's impossible based on the absorption and the science. But it could have happened sooner, sure. And we don't know if it did happen, if it happened by Conrad Murray giving him some pills to help him sleep. We don't know. According to Dr. White, though, it would have happened when, again, Conrad Murray was out of the room once again. Conrad Murray is a medical doctor that assumed the care of Michael Jackson. It doesn't change because it's even in a more bizarre scenario of being in a bedroom. If he was a medical doctor in a hospital, in a clinic, in a surgery suite, he has a legal duty of care to monitor and ensure the safety of his patient that is under his care. The law recognizes this as a legal duty. Counsel talked about causation. Conrad Murray administered the propofol. Let's talk about direct causation. Had Conrad Murray not abandoned his patient, this wouldn't have happened. If Conrad Murray had monitoring equipment with alarms, this wouldn't have happened. If Conrad Murray knew how to effectively resuscitate a patient, this wouldn't have happened. But the law here, too, recognizes that it need be only a natural and probable consequence. If you administer propofol in a bedroom, a natural and probable consequence is there could be death. That is true. That is a fact. It's a respiratory depressant. It has unpredictable effects, as Dr. White said, as Dr. Schaefer said. It affects different patients in different ways. It's dependent on your fasting, how much food you ate, are you dehydrated, are there other drugs in your system? It is because of these variables that Dr. White spent an hour and a half talking about. It is because of these variables that you need to have the safety precautions in place. Because it is a natural and probable consequence that a patient would react to propofol in that manner. And it is entirely foreseeable and predictable. Dr. White, from the video I showed you earlier, would not leave a patient alone if he knew he liked to push propofol in that scenario. He would not leave him alone, because he knows what the natural and probable consequences would be. The issue, again, that Alberto Alvarez is lying. You know, if Alberto Alvarez wanted to lie, couldn't he have just said, I walked into the room and Conrad Murray was hiding bottles. Conrad Murray told me he fell asleep. Conrad Murray told me he had been in the other room sleeping and an infusion line killed Michael Jackson. I mean, if he wanted to lie, there's no evidence he had any animosity toward Conrad Murray. In fact, he thought he was, by all accounts, a fine doctor. Alberto Alvarez has no position in this case. This has been nothing but a nightmare for him. He told you the truth. For whatever significance the bag and bottle has to you as jurors, Alberto Alvarez told you what he found, what he saw. And Alyssa Fleek told you she found a bag with a bottle in it inside the Costco bag. What position does she have in this case? She's a coroner's investigator. She came in and told you what she collected and what she found. Detective Scott Smith told you he was in and out of the room taking photographs. He didn't see the bag removed. He saw it when it was laid out on the table. You can review your notes, review the transcript. He's telling the truth. He didn't see it in the bag. That's absolutely the truth. He said he was in and out, and when he came in, the bag was laid out and the bottle was on top of it. This isn't some master conspiracy between Alberto Alvarez and Alyssa Fleek and whomever else the defense would include in that. Another word about Dr. Schaefer. They characterize him as a cop, that he has an agenda. He provided all of his software to defense counsel so they could do any simulation they wanted. He provides all of his data on the internet. He personally created scenarios, simulations for the defense at their request. You know, Steve Schaefer told you, I asked him when he was describing the infusion setup and the 2 lines. I said, wasn't it possible that in that setup, with just a roller clamp and not an infusion pump, it's possible Michael could have reached up and undid the roller clamp? He said, absolutely, I can't rule that out. He said, absolutely, I can't rule that out. That's not someone with some agenda or trying to only put blame in one place or another. That's a scientist. Because he can't rule out that scenario. Now, it's people's position in that scenario. Defendant Conrad Murray's absolutely guilty for such reckless behavior, for such indifference. But Steve Schaefer, Dr. Schaefer, is telling you the science. It's no different than the oral lorazepam. No one can say, number one, if it was given categorically, but was it given at Conrad Murray's, handing it to Michael Jackson, giving him a cup of water? Was it done by Michael Jackson? That's all speculation. It's a fact that it's a controlled substance. It's a fact that it's gross negligence to leave someone in that condition created by Conrad Murray through a night's worth of benzodiazepines and propofol, and then leave that patient abandoned to fend for themselves. But Dr. Schaefer told the truth. He gave you the science, and he told the truth. The issue of fingerprints. Alberto Alvarez's fingerprints were not on the saline bag. Michael Jackson's fingerprints are not on the syringe that he allegedly used. There's a whole list, if you go through the stipulation, of items that were clearly touched, were clearly handled, empty vials, things of that nature, that don't have fingerprints. You don't always get fingerprints. It depends on oils, perspiration, different things. You don't always get fingerprints. But again, Alberto Alvarez's prints are not on the saline bag. Michael Jackson's fingerprints aren't on the syringe. You don't always get fingerprints. People's 30, we did get a fingerprint. And that's Conrad Murray's on the 100 milliliter vial of propofol that was found in the saline bag. You know, I read to you the instructions verbatim earlier, and one of the instructions was evaluation of defendant's statements. And when you evaluate the truthfulness of the defendant's statements, think about the deception and lies that have been told through numerous witnesses in this case by Dr. Murray. To Kenny Ortega commenting, Conrad Murray commenting that he was in perfect health, leave it to me, when Conrad Murray knew exactly the opposite was true. The same statement made to Paul Gongaware, that he was in good health, leave it to me, when he knew exactly the opposite was true. To Randy Phillips, to Kathy Jory, telling Miss Jory during their contract negotiations that Michael was in great health. No mention of anything that was going on behind closed doors. The email that you saw earlier to Bob Taylor in London, where he's commenting that any of these issues raised in the media are not true. To paramedics Seneff and Blunt and the other paramedics that responded, when Conrad Murray willfully denied them the information they requested and willfully denied and failed to mention that propofol was given.